Alright, so we're going to try and put together some steering linkage and maybe the back housing for some of that in this video, and try not to run it into 15 minutes long. I took the liberty of doing some of the light work early off camera. For instance, making these turnbuckles, because we already discussed that before. They're turnbuckles, one side's reverse thread, one side's regular, so when they're clamped on to where they're going, if you turn this, they'll grow or shrink, and that way you can adjust your stuff very easily. However, you got to pay attention and put them all on the right way, and I've done that and lined them up here so I know every time I move any of my turnbuckles anywhere on the car towards the nose, they all go the same direction. When I go towards the motor, they all go the opposite direction, so everything is adjusted out the right way. So like I said, I've got new steering linkage, and I went ahead and popped some of it together, like this half right here. I went ahead and installed the balls, because I mean, if you're following along and you haven't figured out how to take a little ball joint and screw it down onto something yet, then I'm sorry. I also went ahead and put the bearings in these on this side, just knock it out of the way. But to show you, I left half of this one off, so I pushed the bearing in that half right there, and then this side is still open, so you can see possibly if it focuses in, there's a little ridge in there. So what happens is it comes with a little sleeve right there, and this sleeve goes in and fills the void up on the inside like that, so things don't bust around. And then you take your bearing, your other half of your bearing, and it drops in on top of that, and they go together. And so that's what it looks like on both sides, and you have a sleeve in the middle so that the bolt will go through okay. I also took the liberty of putting these on, and if you'll notice, there's two different style ball joints here. They're both the same in diameter, but this one that's above my fingernail right here is flat on top. This one is round. Isn't that weird? So since I had paid attention to that, I actually put these in a position where I want. So what's going to happen when I put these on, the one that's round is going to go over and connect to the wheel. Since the wheel moves up and down and forward and backward with steering, forward, backward, and up and down with suspension, it gets total movement on this. This side, which is flat, will be bolted to the pan and on an equal plane with the other piece, which also has a flat one on the inside with a ball joint going to the arm. And so since both of the ones that are flat are bolted and on equal plane and they stay together, they never ride up and down independently, so I wasn't too worried about that. They'll never use the top, so paid close attention to that, putting it together. The screws that hold this together are already in place because they pass right on through. Just going to make sure once again that I got those tightened down now that I'm done with everything there. And then they come with washers that go on top to separate this. And believe it or not, some people know this, some people don't, but there is a washer difference on top and bottom. This is the top of a washer, that's the bottom of a washer, the way that they get stamped out. So I'm pretty anal about making sure I put everything together. Some people don't care, but this is a rougher side, it's not machined, and this side is, so I always want the machine parts against the stuff that I'm working with. So we put the washers on there, we drop those down on each post, then the arms will go on. And I went ahead and took the liberty of installing the arm for hooking up to my servo. I didn't want to use a ball joint. the servo has a lot of action. So I put in these, I don't even know what you call them, but they're like a ball socket. So they move all around, and that's what I'm using for that. So drop those on there, just like that. Then again, the washers go on like so. I got one upside down, of course, after I sat here and talked about it. There we go. There we go. And then these came with nuts that are nylock type nuts, so put those on. And this one. And got a nut driver, tighten that down. And this one. And again, I'm not Hercules putting these on. They don't need to. All they do is go back and forth just like that. And man, that ball bearing is awesome. All right, so we hook some stuff up now. Again, a little bit of chapstick on these ball joints. Everywhere there's a ball, I put a little bit of chapstick on it so that it lubricates it, makes it work very, very good. So all of these will get lubed up with a little bit of chapstick. And this is not, there's nothing really in this. It's basic chapstick. It doesn't smell good or have any other chemicals or anything in it. It's mainly just wax and paraffin. But the difference is remarkable about how these things just will hang up on ball joints if you don't have a little bit of lubrication on it. The first time I did it, literally you could pick up the pan like that, and the arm free falls by gravity, and I didn't have one side lubed, and it would hold up just from that ball joint. So it's a lot freer now. All right, so we want to make sure we always put those on. All right, so then the hardest part about all of this is getting these things pressed on there. But, Lordy Jesus. I can imagine how hard this would be if there wasn't any lubrication at all. So there's one. Take it out to the side. Again, it says you may have to use pliers to do this, but I'm a little leery about that, because if stuff won't go together relatively easily, how do you know it's going to move relatively easy later if you do that? So I want to make sure if I can put it together by hand, then I know that we're going to be okay. Nothing's going to be froze up. And I go putting it together with a pair of pliers and breaking something, and then or it should be moving freely, and it doesn't. Man, I might have put too much stuff on this one. This is rolling all over the place. Maybe I should have done this before I put them on, but I'm here now, so we might as well see what we can do. I'm going to put something up underneath it because I'm pressing so hard I don't want to bend it. Of course, it doesn't help that the box, my workbench, is made out of a plastic tote. There we go. And then over to the side here. Now, because this is steering and you want it correct, I used a mic to make sure that I had all of these parts and pieces the same distance on each side before I snapped them together. Alright, and then the last one goes here in the middle. I said this wasn't going to be a long video, but I didn't realize it was going to take me an hour to pop a couple of plastic ball joints together. Might not get to the back in this video at all. I might just finish up with the front. It's already going on. There we go. Alright, so, woo! It's in, and look, steering linkage works. So, happy with that. Alright. And they're all turnbuckles, so I can fine-tune it in whenever I get there. So we're going to end this video here, and we'll get to the rear of the vehicle in the next video.